Hey, I'm just gonna ramble a bit, I think, and upload it to YouTube. Yeah, I'll send it to you, so listen if you wish. Yeah, I just did a post on Facebook about the inner Christos people. I was talking about how absurd it kind of is, and there's a lot of complex stuff in the inner Christos material. It's so fucking complex. There's fire letters. There's like extra chakras, which I think there are extra chakras that go beyond the body. I think such is taught in some texts in the East. I think it is. I think I've seen that. I couldn't say where. I mean, I didn't read it. But still, like J seals, it's also super negative. Like, we all have seals in us that make it so we can't, be our full selves and be psychic fully and manifest fully and everything else. So, like, what would we be able to do? Could I throw a fireball? Could I manifest a fireball, in my hand and throw it at someone and incinerate them? Would they then be able to manifest, a force field? Would it be like, kids on the playground? I threw, I'm shooting at you. I have a force field. Well, I have a force field breaking bullet, but would it be to that point? I've seen stuff like that, like in visions and stuff. Not exactly like that, but, it's a little more complex than that, but it almost felt like that in the visions when I watched aliens, how they fight. The more advanced ones, but yeah. The thing is, I'm kind of convinced, because for a long time I sort of was exploring, not really from the perspective of Gnosticism, but more from the perspective of New Age, some of the more pessimistic New Age, that we're all controlled by aliens, and, they're preying on our minds and our loosh and stuff, and, I wasn't sure about it. I think there may be some process of some beings feeding on our suffering. I think that's possible. I know some beings do feed on our suffering, but I don't know if if that's in any way related to some kind of intentional world control. Maybe being a thing that someone knows about that they're using. I don't know. I also think that reptilians are really overestimated, overrated. I don't think reptilians are the force behind every little thing, and I've seen reptilians, and mostly what I got from seeing them is that they're really horny. That's it, I could believe that they have something to do with the elites with their sex parties and whatnot, because I've seen their societies and that's what it's like. So, I've heard a lot of things. I think, for one thing, I would watch videos of Debbie Solaris. I kind of like her stuff, but I don't know. She's also on Gaia TV, and there's some pretty rough stuff on Gaia TV that I don't take that seriously. Yeah. It's annoying for there to be so much, like, random information that you don't know what to do with. Yeah. But the inner Christos people, I think the trouble is for me that actually watching Christos Avatar, watching his stuff was kind of helpful to me, and I think he's doing something relatively good. In fact, I was told by a spirit whom I hold in quite high regard that I might find a shaman, like a teacher in Nevada, and years later I'm in Slovenia on YouTube, and I discovered this guy in Christos avatar, and he's from Nevada, and it was pretty clearly, what the spirit was talking about. And I think he did help me a lot to understand that, gods aren't exactly gods. They're just a higher being that is maybe not even that much higher. It's just, we're all gods. We're just on, crystallized in the way that they are. We have a different experience that's limited in certain ways, but actually we're all practically gods. Okay, if we weren't limited, we wouldn't all be Shiva, but, the gods are pictures of what we might become, what we can become, what we can fairly easily become. And that was helpful for me to learn through the Christos Avatar channel. I think also he criticized channelers a lot, and that they don't even know who they're talking to, and that caused me to scrutinize my own practice and delay it for about a year. And then when I realized that channeling was actually more effective than I thought, and a lot of the things I was doing, I realized my magic was more powerful than I thought it was, and so I felt a little bit bitter at that point, like, oh, why did I doubt myself? And I realized, well, okay, I doubted myself, but on the other hand, I made sure, and now because I have at least some logic as to, how I figure these things, and I kind of found out what I can live with and consider true. I have something to say. Like, for one thing, if people are channeling a lot and their face changes, that's kind of a bad sign that they're not channeling very nicely, that they're just being absorbed into the energy of the being that they're channeling, that they're sort of being energetically mutated by whatever they're letting in, and that's not a good sign. That being said, I think a lot of people channeling in the New Age movement probably were similar to the being anyways. It's just they're activating something that's already within themselves, maybe it's suboptimal for them. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. And, we come into life and we have a body, but if your face changes, that's gonna, that belies a larger energetic change. And that goes with you in lifetimes, It goes with you. So, I see this with Eastern practices. I see it with the Hare Krishnas. I see it like the ISKCON people that people give flowers out at the airport. I see it with Buddhism a lot, is that everyone looks exactly the same. Even the shapes, like their facial structure, will look similar. And maybe it's just people that look similar. It's a certain spiritual qualities. But it really looks like they're being mutated to be more like when you get married, you kind of, some couples, if they've been married a long time and really connected, they'll start to look the same, by the end of their life. And with a temple, it's the same. You get in a temple and you're sort of married to all the other people in a way, or at least married to the guru, so, right, not so different. But there's more to it than that, because, how many Buddhist teachers that probably don't know each other, you look them up and they look pretty similar, even over ages, from even very old paintings. So I think that was a good criticism to come across, and that got me thinking. And I already knew about this from Beyond Fortune. She talked about how in the West, it's more individualistic, and in the East, it's more like everyone looks the same, does the same, is the same. To me, I actually would go further. Like, a lot of Satanists end up having certain similar qualities in their facial structure and such. Some of that I think might be, demonic people are attracted to it. I don't know. Which I think the Satanist thing is a little bit of a show, anyways. I don't know if their magic is really any darker than what anyone else is doing. Maybe they use some fucked up witchcraft. I don't know. I don't know a ton about it. I just look at their faces and they look somewhat degenerate. Or not degenerate, but like there is something demonic there, I feel. Or perhaps demonic's the wrong word, but just something that looks a bit off-putting to me. I think would be off-putting to a lot of people. So yeah, and I noticed with Freemasonry, with Freemasons, they would all kind of act a little bit the same. So to me, I would even be more individualistic than that and say that, okay, you're joining a lodge, so you can be like everyone else. To me, like, I think that we should be ourselves and, be our ultimate selves. And, when you get married, you, or when you're looking for someone to get into a romantic relationship with, or a friendship even, it becomes, the differences are part of it, the differences are the beauty of the relationship. Because I think there's a, compatibility and stuff. I think some of the, because Freemasonry and different Western esoteric things trickle into the culture and the society, and it's like, let's all link up and get on the same page and practically be the same person, and but we all have different strengths, and sometimes it's good to have someone that complements you rather than it's just the same as you. So if you have a romantic partner or friends or whatever, the differences can be the basis of it. Although I will say it is an easier time when people are just the same as you. I often find massive resistance in my own life trying to be with people that are like me, that we can just be on the same page and just get along, kind of. I feel mostly the more complimentary type people are attracted to me, like as far as manifested to me, like by, attraction in a more neutral sense, in a more general sense. So I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, I have in mind 2 or 3 people right now that I'm very much like them, but can't really, it feels as if I can't really reach them, but I think it's okay. I've learned this, to just let everything happen in its time, it's like it says in Proverbs, or I think it's Ecclesiastes, there's a time for this, there's a time for that, there's a time to weep, and there's a time for joy, and all this. There's a time for peace and for war, and just everything. There's a time for it, and I think that's very yogic as well. It's very comforting for one thing. So, just gonna end on that.